Hey, what is up guys? GuitarRock here, welcome back to another Girls Frontline 2 video. Alright, we got the Exilium update right now with plenty of free stuff, free gifts available in the game. So very good time to start playing the game. Alright, today's video we're gonna talk about Klukai. Alright, I'm sure you guys have obtained her by now. You're still thinking of figuring things out on how to basically try to build her in accordance to the best of your capabilities. Now there are some new players that's coming into the game. If you guys are new to Girls Frontline 2, welcome. Alright, so let's talk about Klukai as a whole. If you guys haven't already, she is going to be a very strong character. One of the best in terms of AoE capabilities, alright? So I highly recommend you guys to get her up to as high as you can, you know, level 60, max her out and everything. So one debate that a lot of players are still deciding is going to be her weapon, right? Obviously, not everybody can afford to get Skylar. Now, if you cannot get Skylar, believe it or not, the other weapon, Planeta, is going to be better for her. Now, Planeta is going to be Tololo's exclusive weapon, this particular one. Planeta is actually better for Klukai at V3 below. So if your Klukai is V0, you only get one copy of her, or if you get one dupe of her, V1 or V2, right? Planeta is going to be better. But if you have a Klukai with 3 copies and above, right, then Skylar is going to be actually better. So this one, as you can see, AoE damage increase, alright, each time you do corrosion damage, increase your damage right there as well. So Planeta is still going to be a very universal assault rifle, right? So I do recommend, if you can, try to get multiple Planeta copies, alright? So it is going to be a little bit tricky. You can either try to get it from the standard banner, or you can try to get right now if you want to, alright? I'm sure people are aware by now, but under the trading post, neural integration, this currency right here, later on we are going to be able to use this to obtain some pulls. But if you want to, I don't think it's that bad of an idea to just get one additional one for your Klukai, alright, as opposed to trying to pull for the weapon if you can't afford to. Now besides the weapon, what else to take note of, right? Her neural helix, alright, these things right here. Alright, so make sure you guys are, you know, trying to max her out. You're gonna get bonus stats for her. Now, which one is going to be her best one in terms of her keys, right? Believe it or not, the recommended one are actually not that good. Alright, Klukai is going to be something that's like very reliant on the ultimate. So I highly recommend getting those things that's going to boost her ultimate as a whole. Now this one is going to be the one that you'll see a lot, alright? Support attack performed by other allied units gains 1 point of convected index. This one is going to be very good. In fact, Klukai's best teammate or partner is going to be Peritia, which we're going to talk about shortly, right? And then I highly recommend getting this particular one. Reduces the width of ultimate skill devastating drifts effective area to 3 tiles, alright? For each tile reduced, increase damage dealt by 10%. And then we got the last one, this one, the ultimate skill again, devastating drift. If you only hit one target, your damage dealt increased by 30%. So these are the 3 crucial keys that I highly recommend to put on Klukai. So what about the attachments for the weapon? Corrosion boost is ideally what I recommend. Corrosion boost is going to be the best one for her. In terms of the substats, you want to go for the muzzle, crit rate, crit damage, attack boost, and attack. Alright, this is going to be the 4 best stats. Now for the other 3 pieces, you want to get crit rate percent with attack boost and flat attack. Now obviously prioritize on attack boost and attack. Those are going to be the significant ones, but you know, hopefully you are able to get the one with the right stats. As you can see, this is going to be the one. I haven't got a perfect piece for this side. This one has a defense, but hopefully eventually I'll be able to get a better one. But yeah, something like along these lines is going to be what you ideally want to obtain in terms of her attachments. I guess if you can't afford to get corrosion boost, because I am aware that it's very difficult to farm, maybe you can consider phase strike for a temporary placeholder. So now let's jump into a battle and show you guys. This is going to be a very interesting one. Alright, I'm gonna see if I can showcase her and tell you guys why this is going to be important in terms of her skill rotation and stuff. Now Klukai excels in performing her ultimate skill, devastating drift, and then doing AoE damage right there. So as you can see, you are going to be able to move her accordingly, and you can basically try to target a specific spot right here using her ultimate skill, as you can see. So this is going to be the very important one. So you can move her to a spot, and as you can see, let's try and understand what this particular skill does, right? You basically, she's basically going to dash forward. You basically move her in a cross-shaped tile. All right, you can either go to the left, go to the right, up or down, right? Depending. I can also go here. I can also go down, as you can see, depending on where you're trying to go. But this is going to basically be the best spot for me. As you can see, I'm going to hit a lot of the enemies here. I am not going to be able to kill the Thorn, but I will be able to get rid of 3 other enemies right there. Now you're going to gain 6 tiles of additional movement. Alright, damage dealt is increased by 20%. Now if 2 or more targets are killed, this skill can be used again to a maximum of 1 additional time. Very, very important. So you gotta kill at least 2 enemies. So right here you can see I am able to kill at least 3 enemies. So I am going to move here, move in the straight line, boom. Now I can use my ultimate skill again. So this is what makes this extremely powerful, alright? So now I can either go up. In this case, I can get rid of these 2 insects, it looks like, right? So I'm just going to do just that. Bam! Alright, there, my turn is over. It's that simple, very straightforward. Okay, so once you have used your ultimate, alright, in the following turn, this is where you are going to have 2 more skills to use, right? While your ultimate skill is on cooldown, the Devastating Drift, this is your strongest skill ever. You got 2 rotation right here. The first skill, Pinpoint Detonation, or the Overpowering Corrosion. Now ideally, the second skill is not going to be something that you use most of the time. Most of the time, you're just going to use your ultimate skill and then you're going to rotate back to skill 1. Now why is that, right? Now the skill 1, as you can see, this is a long text of information. The important one is if any of the enemy targets are killed by this particular skill, it's going to reduce the cooldown of your ultimate skill, Devastating Drift, by 1 turn. And you also get more Convectance Index, which is what you ideally want. So I'm going to move, come here, I'm going to try to hit this enemy. If I can basically use my skill 1, alright? So I get rid of a couple of them, so that way I will have my ultimate skill, I believe the countdown, you can see, it straight up just refresh, right? So now you can see, right? So this is what makes Klukai really strong. So you just rotate between those 2 skills. So one good thing is she can also move up here. So notice this is like the terrain up here, right? Usually most characters will have to climb and hit the enemy. She can also do this. I can use this skill to climb up here and do this as well, right? Using the bike. Like, that is insane. Alright, that is something that, you know, it's just absolutely bonkers. So now that we understand Klukai's skill rotation, let's talk a little bit more about her dupes. This is going to be the most discussed point about whether or not you should get V0, V1, V2, V3. You know, I've gone through an entire video about this before, and I do think that whether you want to go for whatever dupes for her, she is going to be a very strong character. I think she's probably one of the best DPS character in the game. Ideally, if you want to get the best DPS character ever in the game, V6 is going to be ideally her best one, right? But if you can't afford to go there, that's fine. Alright, let's have a look at the fortification a little bit and give you guys a better idea. Now the V1, as you can see right here, this is going to give you the improvement to her second skill, Overpowering Corrosion. Now we just talked about it earlier, right? You ideally use the ultimate skill, Devastating Drift, and then you go back to rotate to skill 1 to basically try to reduce the cooldown for the ultimate skill. Most of the time you're not going to use the second skill, in this case the Overpowering Corrosion. So her V1 is actually not that useful. I noticed a lot of players seem to want to try to obtain her V1, I don't know why, but earlier on my stream today, plenty of players told me, hey, I want to get her V1, and I find it extremely odd because this is not going to be, in most scenario, you're not going to take advantage of this particular Overpowering Corrosion. Now V2 is going to get very interesting. This is going to be for her passive skill. Alright, so let's talk about the passive skill. Now Klukai's passive skill is very interesting. This is why she is going to be one of the few unique characters that you can play more bravely, right? She's immune to control type tile effects. So that means taunt, attract, stun, those things, she's immune to it. And then every time you use any of her attacks, either on her, you know, ultimate skill or whatever, she's going to apply 1 stack of Corrosive Infusion. Now this is going to be something that the enemy would basically take AoE damage equal to 12% of the attack. Alright, each additional stack, the damage multiplier is increased by 12%. Now if you are hit by, again, active attacks by Klukai or corrosion damage from anyone else, if you have any other allies or whatever, you gain 1 additional stack. Again, very cool, and this is going to go up like crazy, right? So you are going to apply this particular like sort of a debuff DOT thing, right? You also gain 1 stack of competitive spirit. This is going to basically increase your corrosion damage. Every time you use a skill, you are going to do more 5% corrosion damage and stacks up to 8 times. One more thing is also, every time Klukai performs an active attack or other allied units deals corrosion damage, Klukai is gonna get 1 Convectance Index. For every 3 points of Convectance Index gain, reduce cooldown of your ultimate skill by 1/3. Again, Peritia going to be very strong combo with her. Now if you look at the upgrade, right? This upgrade is going to improve upon, alright? Now you gain 3 stacks of competitive spirit, corrosion damage. At the start of the battle, you straight up get 15%, alright? 15% more damage at the beginning of the battle. So you are going to improve your overall damage wise. So I think V2 is where you start seeing a big jump in terms of her damage increase, right? And then you can see you also gain more stacks of this. Alright, now the stack limit is going to go up to 4 stacks for this particular one. And then now you can see you also will be able to defense can reduce by 1%, stack limit increased by 5 stacks. So now you can do a little bit of defense reduction as well. So this is going to be, like I would say, the biggest spike. Her V2 is going to be a big increase. If you want to, I would say it's probably a much better decent stopping point than V1, right? Now where it gets really interesting is going to be the V3. Alright, this is going to be where a lot of players, they want to try to obtain this, because now you are able to improve your damage significantly against bosses, right? You can see for each enemy hit, this is going to be for your ultimate skill, increase damage dealt by additional 10% up to a maximum of 50%. Now if you are hitting a boss, this will become immediately a 50% value. So if you are hitting a boss, you straight up just get 50% damage boost on your ultimate skill. That's where it gets very interesting, right? If 2 or more targets or a boss is hit, this skill can be used again. Now you can also apply defense down too. Alright, so reduce defense by 30%. Again, this is not unique to Klukai. There are also other characters that can do defense down. But now she is going to be significantly more useful in a boss scenario, right? Because you can sort of put her in a lot of different team compositions, and having the defense down is just going to give her the extra usefulness, alright? Alongside with the damage that she can do, now she can also debuff the boss. Very useful in that situation, right? So for a lot of players, they want to try to get this particular one up to V3 as a decent stopping point. Now obviously, you are still going to sacrifice a lot of characters that you might get later on. Alright, so we are aware by now that there's going to be Vector coming later on, and also I believe after Match Day. Now that's going to be a very difficult conversation. Do you want to get up to this V3, or should you just get Vector later on? Now for a lot of free-to-play players, Vector is probably going to be a bigger boost to your account than Klukai. You probably don't really need this, because this is very specific against bosses. If your Klukai is at V0, alright, which is like just 1 copy, she's going to work just fine in most other contents that's not boss specific. Now when we're talking about bosses, this is where you are able to take advantage of other players' Klukai. You can basically borrow it from the Gunsmoke Frontline and basically take advantage of that, right? So you don't really need to have your own Klukai that's like very high dupe. Now her V4 is going to increase her skill 1 a little bit more, as you can see. Alright, now it's going to do even more damage. V5, again, not that useful. This is going to be for the second skill, overpowering corrosion. It doesn't really improve the devastating drift. But going all the way to V6, now this is where she gets insane damage. Alright, ignores cover damage, okay? Increase width by 2 tiles, applies dismay for 2 turns. Now dismay is going to be some sort of attack percent reduction. So now not only can she reduce defense, she can also reduce attack. So very good debuffer in that sense. After the attack, triggers all enemies' effects of corrosive infusion. That's going to be your passive, alright? Now you're gonna be able to apply all of these, and the on-death effects of toxic infiltration. So you are going to be able to apply your passive instantly, and just apply all of those instantly to the enemy. So this is going to be what makes her really strong. If you can afford to, V6 is going to be the, I would say, the long-term goal, but If you are following the CN meta, however, there's also plenty of other stronger characters, right? So that's going to be where the discussion comes in. For me, I do intend to get V6 later on, but right now, I have her up to V3 for the time being. If you are a free-to-play player, you probably don't really need to go all the way up there. She is a very, very strong character, but is she strong enough for you to sacrifice not getting the other characters later on? That's going to be something for you to decide, right? I do think that a lot of characters like Vector, Springfield, and even Nikita that came out recently, and also in CN server, there's a lot of characters that are slowly getting buffed. They got Leva recently, maybe Lena will get buffed, maybe Electric Team will be strong again. So plenty of things that are going to change according to how things goes in the CN server, because they are 1 year ahead, right? So all in all, Klukai is a very, very strong character. I would highly recommend you guys to get at least one copy. At least one copy, V0. Gonna be more than enough. You will be able to use Planeta on her, so I don't see what's the big issue. You don't have to get her weapon if you don't want to. Just use Planeta. It's going to be more than enough. So that's just going to be my advice. Now in terms of teams, Klukai is really, really flexible. Alright, you can basically put her anywhere, and I think she's gonna work just fine, right? I do like her in terms of right now. I feel like Suomi is going to be one of the better one to pair with her, just because Suomi is going to be able to give her shield, and she can basically play a much more risque style by going to the front, alright, and basically try to get rid of the enemy. If you don't have Suomi, Centaurisi is going to be a good one, but Suomi is better because she has the shield, right? So I do think that this is going to be one of the better synergy. Obviously later on, alright, so we're going to be able to obtain Peritia. Is going to be a very strong one once match D comes. Alright, whoever that's going to be in that slot, this is going to be match D. So you can do like Suomi, match D, Peritia alongside with Klukai, and then maybe you can last one, you can put like Macchiato or something, right? So just to have an extra single target. I would say this is going to be an overall balanced team if you are looking to tackle bosses, and can also look to tackle any of the Gunsmoke frontline scenario. Now if you don't intend to get match D, Klukai can still be slotted into any team like I mentioned. You want to put her in the burn team, you can do that. You can also, right now in CN, I think Klukai is going to be mostly used alongside with Springfield in the Hydro team, right? So that's going to be where she shines. She's very, very flexible. You can put her anywhere. So yeah, with that being said, that's going to be it for this particular video. Subscribe if you guys haven't already. Give this video a like. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye.